Good evening. First, I wanted to thank you everyone for inviting me tonight. Today I'm going to speak about a project that's called Neo Norte, which not only involves my own self, but more than 80 artists, Latin American artists that have been collaborating in this project. This project is inspired in Joaquin Torres Garcia. Does anyone in the audience know Joaquin Torres Garcia? No? He was an Uruguayan artist that he proposed the School of the South, or Escuela del Sur. So what he was saying and questioning in the 20th century was that sometimes cultures from the global South have this feeling that because of being from the South, they are limited because they're always like looking up for the North, because they're expecting the validation from cultures in Europe or North America to tell them what to do. So then he was saying that actually damages our culture, because then we don't promote enough our own culture. So what he was proposing was to turn them upside down and propose the South as a new North. So I've been taking this concept of Joaquin Torres Garcia to a contemporary language and see what would happen, or reply to this question of what would happen if we turn them upside down. So to tell you a bit the development of Neo Norte, it started when I was studying my master's at St. Martin's, my master's in Arts and Science, where I co-founded the Latinos Creative Society in 2017. And I first presented it in Santiago, in Chile, in Fundación de Cultural de Providencia in 2018, then in London in 2019 at Exposure Projects, then in Finland, 2021 in Helsinki, and this year it was presented in Palermo a couple of weeks ago in Sicily, and I'm currently evaluating to take it to Sao Paulo in Brazil and to Bolivia. And over the years, we have done 5 exhibitions in 4 different countries with more than 230,000 attendees. More than 80 artists have participated from 20 different nationalities. And in our videos in YouTube, we have over 18,000 plays. So, as you can see, these are some of the poses and the graphics of the evolution of Neo Norte, and the reason why I'm presenting this is because more than an itinerant exhibition where I replicate always the same exhibition, it's a site-specific project that adapts to different places where it's presented. So the last one there, it's the one in Sicily that I presented a couple of weeks ago. So I want also to share this quote of Evo Teivainen. He's a professor from world politics at the University of Helsinki. He participated in the panel discussion of Neo Norte 3 at Odi Library in Helsinki. And he wrote an article that's called The Latin Americanization of Europe, Possibilities for a Geopolitical Pedagogical Transformation. And so what's very interesting is that he's saying that what's happening now in Europe with migration is what we've been experiencing in Latin America for at least 400 years. And also, like the economic precarity of countries in Europe is very similar to what we experience in Latin America. So he's saying instead of patronizing South America, we maybe could learn from them. So this was when I was studying at St. Martin's. So we started by deconstructing the map of Latin America to declare our manifesto. And then we mended it with a red thread, and we proposed the Neo Norte. So in this manifesto, we selected 5 principles that have, or 4 principles that have somehow conformed the ideology of Neo Norte. So this was some images of Neo Norte 1 in Santiago. Here we were speaking about cultural syncretism. So for example, this installation integrates elements from tribes from Patagonia that were extinguished through a genocide with industrial burials. And then this year, it's speaking about how new technologies integrate to the natural techniques and crafts. So then again, we have digital painting with traditional crafts. Then this was Neo Norte 2. I really like this image because this was at the time of the fires in the Amazons that year that were quite badly. And here we have the sculpture of Giuseppe Mario Urso looking at the Amazonas. And this was a very interesting project from a Mexican artist called Paulina Figueroa, where she actually collected different books in London about Latin America to see which is the identity or the image people in London have about Latin America. And then she placed them, like simulating the map of the Thames to represent the books she got from one side of the Thames and the other side of the Thames. And then this was in Neo Norte 3 in Helsinki, in Numala Gallery. This is a piece from Jose Carlos Garcia that won an award at the Arts Prize in 2019. And what he did was a collage with images of Venezuelan migrants in the borders with Brazil, and he put mirrors on the faces to invite people to feel an empathy with the migrants. And then this one here, it's very interesting because when we presented Neo Norte in Helsinki, we also wanted to make a contrast of the experiences of the extreme north and extreme south. So this diptych by the Finnish artist Viv Mahia, it is actually a collaboration with a Sami artist who are the indigenous of Laponia and with a Wayumo woman who is an indigenous from the north of Colombia. And she invited both of these women, Hilda Lanzmann and Fatima Gonzalez, to also donate part of the crafts to be part of the action pieces. And this is Neo Norte 4 in Sicily. This is an installation of Gandolfo Gabriele David at the archaeological park of Segesta. So he inscribed the Chacana, which is the Inca representation of the Southern Cross. For the ones who don't know what the Southern Cross is the constellation that you can see in the Australian flag. So it is an invitation to look south and see what can actually, so here you can see the symbol of the Chacana, so it's an invitation to think of what can the south offer to the north. So instead of always having the people from the south copying the north, think what can the cultures of the south in terms of how they connect to the land and to the earth, and in terms of how they live sustainability, can propose to the north. Also the Chacana is very interesting, and also each of the corners represents one of the creative elements of the earth, which are water, air, fire, and soil. So to end, I'm going to show a small video. This is not the final video of the performance, it's just a mock-up because it happened 2 weeks ago, so the filmmaker is still editing it, but it's a mock-up he just did for this evening, so that you can imagine how the performance was. The performance took place at Villa Giulia, which is actually a very interesting place in Palermo because it's a villa that the architecture was made inspired in Masons, and it's a place that's a microcosm of nature in the city, but also speaks about the equilibrium between space and time, and also the symbol of the Chacana is an invitation to look south and having and the idea of drawing with our footprints is a way of showing the weight of our footprints in relation to how time relates with space. And the instruments were commissioned to a Bolivian musician that lives in London. It's a traditional instrument from the Andean cultures, which is called the chachta. It's made with the paws of the lamb, and it's because the tribes from the Andes used to believe that they could actually ask for the souls of the lambs to help them grow the crops. So that's how you can see how we draw the Chacana. And then the fabrics were reused for some workshops. I also hosted with the Unione della Donna Italiana, which is the Union of Women of Sicily, to think about the violence against women, and this piece is being shown in an exhibition now at the Museo dell'Insigne in Palermo. And so, to close, I would like to ask everyone tonight. Oh, next one. No, next one. Which is our Neo Norte. So thank you very much.
Okay.